Well, hello, folks. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. Just got off the radio, spent 2 hours with Vinny Eastwood on the American Freedom Radio Network, and I'm really looking forward to that getting up on their website. I don't think it's up yet, so excellent stuff. Great interview, and boy, I'm really looking forward to it. I've had a couple of requests, actually several requests, to talk about Wormwood. What is it? And of course, that's indicative of the groundswell of interest about Wormwood. There's so many different ideas, there's so many different beliefs, there's so many different convictions, and that guarantees that some of you are not going to be happy with this program because you're not going to believe what I show you, because all I do is show you what the scriptures say about it, and you decide what you want to believe based upon what the scriptures say about it. It's kind of like hockey. I'm a hockey player. At least I was. I think I may have to have been retired. But they're playing the Stanley Cup Finals right now. I'm a Tampa Bay Lightning fan. I love the Tampa Bay Lightning. When I watch the Tampa Bay Lightning, I'm into it. I mean, I'm living and dying with the Tampa Bay Lightning, right? Well, the Tampa Bay Lightning aren't playing in the Stanley Cup Finals. The Pittsburgh Penguins and the Nashville Predators are playing in the Stanley Cup Finals. And I kind of like both teams. I probably like Nashville the most. I'd like to see Nashville win. Of course, they're not. But since I'm not really vested in either team, I can sit back and just enjoy good hockey. If Sidney Crosby has a great game, makes a great play, okay, I can appreciate that. If Shea Weber makes a great play or Pekka Rinne makes a great save, I can appreciate that because I'm not living and dying on the outcome. And that's the way I am with the scriptures here, especially regarding this subject of Wormwood. Well, not especially, but for this broadcast, it's especially because I don't have a axe to grind. I'm not emotionally attached to any interpretation of what Wormwood is. Is it a star? Is it a planet? Is it a demon? What is it? There's a lot of thought about it. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you what the scriptures say it is. And I'm going to show you a 21st century interpretation based on what we know of what the scriptures are saying. I'm going to show you the context of the word wormwood within the scriptures. And I'm going to let you decide for yourself what you think. So, you asked for it, you got it. Don't shoot the messenger. Here we go with Wormwood. What is it? With me, Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. Subscribe, like, share, donate. Somebody gave me a donation. I got some lights coming. It's going to make the broadcast much better. Going to get a background. Going to make the broadcast much better. The more you do, the more I do. And the better it is for all of us, because we got to get this message out here. We got to make some changes. And we can make a difference if we get the money to make the difference. All right, so let's go with Wormwood. What is it? And let's go ahead and look in the scriptures. And we're in Revelation chapter 8. They just had the seventh seal, and then you have the four trumpets. First trumpet, hail and fire mingled with blood were cast upon the earth. Third part of the trees burnt up. Green grass burnt up. Second angel sounds. What happens when the second angel sounds? A star falls from heaven burning or the second angel, a great mountain burning with fire, goes down into the sea. The sea becomes blood. A third part of the sea creatures, which had life, and a third part of the ships were also destroyed. And then we get to the third angel, and this is where Wormwood comes in. And the third angel sounded, and there fell a great star from heaven, burning as it were a lamp, and it fell upon the third part of the waters of the rivers, and upon the fountains of the waters, and the star is called Wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died of the waters because they were made bitter. Now, When we talk about this strictly from a textual construct and a textual perspective, a star fell from heaven. It can mean either a messenger or it can mean something that looks like a star falling from heaven. What it can't mean is that a star falls from heaven, because we understand that stars have mass much greater than the earth, and a star couldn't literally fall into the earth in the waters. But something that looks like a star could, something that is interpreted by a first century mind saying, oh, that looks like a star falling. Because that's what you have here. You have a person writing about 100 AD or so saying, that looks like a star. And this is a legitimate, verifiable, real diamond part of the New Testament. John did write this. Okay? So something that looks like a star falls into, like a lantern. It's flaming. It looks like a star. It's bright as a star. It falls, and its effects were felt in 1/3 of the rivers, and it also penetrated to the groundwater because the fountains were also affected. So something falling from the heavens affects the third part of the inland waterways, lakes, rivers, and it also penetrates into the groundwater system because the fountains were made bitter. And the word wormwood means intense bitterness. Intense bitterness. And many people, many humans are killed because of this. And the word means intense bitterness. And what you have to do when you're interpreting something in any document, but especially when you're interpreting it in the scriptures, you have to look at how that word is used other places. Well, this is the only time that the word wormwood is used in the entire New Testament. How many of you knew that? That's what you've got the Christian Whistleblower for, to tell you stuff like that. That wormwood is only used once in the New Testament, and it's right here, cousin. Kind of stuck in that whole Brad Pitt thing right now. It's fun. And if it ain't fun, if it ceases to be fun, I'll cease to be doing it. I'll tell you that right now. This is fun. So how is it used? But it's used in the Old Testament 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times. Deuteronomy 29:18. There should be a root that beareth gall and wormwood, bitter taste, but her end is bitter as wormwood. I will feed them, even this people, with wormwood. I'll give them gall to drink, bitter, nasty tasting. Behold, I'll feed them with wormwood, make them drink the water of gall. Drunken with wormwood, wormwood and gall, you who turn to wormwood and leave off righteousness in the earth. So the word means just what it means in Revelation. It means bitter. And just so you know that I'm not trying to pull the wool over your eyes, 8:11, wormwood, absinthos. What does it mean? It means bitter. It's intensely bitter. So something happens, something falls upon the earth, and it causes 1/3 of the inland waterways to become bitter, undrinkable, and it also penetrates into the groundwater and makes the groundwater bitter and undrinkable. And people obviously are still thirsty, or they're drinking it and not knowing that it's, maybe just trace elements of whatever this is can cause people difficulty, because a lot of people die from drinking this wormwood water. And undoubtedly, as it falls from heaven, a lot of them could possibly have also been hit by fallout or whatever it is that made it, the fallout of this thing coming down, and the seismic events that would occur, etc. So the word means bitter. The word means something that's bright and shining like a star, comes from the skies, and it goes onto the earth, and it causes the inland waterways to become bitter. Now, this is my book, Final Message of the Last Apostle, page 279. And I want to read to you from this. A door was opened in heaven. We're going back to the beginning. This is Revelation 4. I don't need to go all the way back to Revelation 4. But let's look at what we're talking about. I got to go back a little bit. I don't know how much of this to talk about. John sees somebody caught up by a great light in a hole in the sky. I behold, a door was opened in heaven. A gateway opened before me in the skies. Sounds like a rather straightforward portrayal of a wormhole. Now again, my point here is that John's writing in AD 100. He has to describe what he sees with terminology of his day. Of course, he has no idea about any of this stuff, but here we are in the 21st century, 20 centuries after John wrote this, and we can look at it and we can read it and say, that's what they're talking about. I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heavens. I looked, and a gateway opened before me in the skies. That is a rather straightforward portrayal of a wormhole. And the first voice I heard was like a trumpet talking with me. The first great noise I heard, this is the literal Greek, was a pounding, quavering reverberation. People that have experienced alien abductions regularly report loud sounds and a feeling of a pulsing vibration as they are taken. Those that have read the Epic of Gilgamesh can't help but notice the similarity in language of a person wholly unfamiliar with even the concept of space travel as they try to relate that to the reader. And then it says, come up hither, I'll show you these things which must happen. Immediately I was in the Spirit. Ascend, lift, or rise suddenly, and suddenly all at once I was whisked away in a blast of air. This account closely mirrors the findings reported by the most exhaustive and credible scholarly studies of alien abduction encounters. Bullard's standard outline of abduction, Nyman's alternative outline. And I'm sorry if I'm boring you with these facts, but you have to set context. The writer is spoken to by the abductor in Bullard. Something familiar yet unknown occurs as in Nyman. And then he's forcibly taken from terrestrial surroundings as in Bullard. In both modern terms and literal language, this writer, John, is being abducted and pulled through a portal of some type. And when I got up there, a throne was set in heaven, and one sat on the throne. I saw a great seat there in the heavenlies, and someone was sitting on it. I'm giving you the Greek. His outward appearance or his clothing was the color of bronze trimmed in red. And encircling this great seat was a floor that looked like it was emerald green. And around the center seat there were 24 other seats, and I saw mature men sitting in them, dressed in cloaks that were brilliant and had bands on their head that looked like gold. Put it all together, I saw a seat in the heavenlies, someone sitting on it. His outward appearance was the color of bronze trimmed in red. That's what he was wearing. Encircling the center seat was a floor that looked like it was emerald green. Around the center seat were 24 other seats, mature men dressed in cloaks that were shiny. They had bands on their heads that looked like gold. Have you ever been on the bridge of a military ship? Have you ever been on the bridge of a Navy ship? Have you ever been into a control room, a military control room? I spent 6 years in the U.S. Air Force, worked in what we call job control on Rhein-Main Air Base, and it was a place where we all sat, and the scene is portrayed here is very familiar to anyone with similar experience. A central chair surrounded by an arc of workstations, personnel wearing uniforms, communication devices on their head like I have, a band on my head. Is this writer seeing the command deck of a spaceship? This is entirely consistent with the apparent alien spacecraft of the Bullard studies. And out of the throne proceeded lightnings and thunderings and voices, and from the center seat came flashing lights and loud voices. Wholly consistent with seeing flashing lights on a control panel and hearing an intercom or radio. If you've watched Star Trek, Captain Kirk's got those flashing lights. He's got the voices coming out of his chair. And the first angel sounds his trumpet. There comes hail and fire mixed with blood. Could the writer be witnessing, could John be witnessing through a view screen a napalm type defoliant being deployed on the landmass. More and more every day, we're warned of the reality of these type of agents and their horrific potential. Remember, napalm, that was 1960s. One shudders to think what the modern equivalent might be capable of. Second angel sounds his trumpet. Something like a huge mountain all ablaze is thrown into the sea. This could be a horrific biological agent being deployed in the oceans. Valdez, Fukushima, we know how easy it is for the balance of our oceans to be upset. This is from my book, Final Message of the Last Apostles. The Last Apostle. And then finally, the third angel sounds his trumpet, and a great star, blazing like a torch, falls from the sky in a third of the rivers and the springs of water. It's called Wormwood. This time, a biological agent is directed towards the inward waterways. What are you saying, Jeff? I'm saying that in 21st century objective terms, everything here that we're saying looks like it's part of a ship deploying these things. And remember, John here is writing, and he's writing about something that the Lord hopes happens. He's not writing about something that is going to happen. This is the Lord's nocturnal emission. This is the Lord's great fantasy that these events will take place. And I'm here to tell you that if you'll help me, these events will not take place. But it was a star, something that looked like a star went down on the earth and caused great havoc. What do those things look like? They look exactly like stars, don't they? If you're a first century person, it's AD 96, 98, 99. You see those things going down to the earth. What's it look like? It looks like a star is falling from heaven. Not convinced? What's that look like? Looks like a star falling from heaven. That's what the scriptures show. That's what the scriptures objectively, literally are teaching. It looks like, from a 21st century perspective, that wormwood is something that looks like a star that's deployed from a craft that falls to the earth and makes the waters bitter and kills people. It is a biological weapon deployed upon the earth from a craft. And if you get this book and remember what I've taught you in the past, the Lord comes back with a fleet of crafts. But here's the key. The Lord wants to come back with a fleet of craft. The Lord wants to come back projecting a hologram that looks like a fleet of craft. The Lord wants to come back pretending that he's the Word of God, pretending that he is inhabiting this Jesus persona. He's hiding his own name, he's hiding his own identity, and he's presenting himself in the Jesus imagery and trying to present himself in the Word of God imagery. And he's coming back in, if you look at my book, look at the Lord, is the Lord who we think he is? Look at the Demystifying Revelation series that's on the front of this site. Look in the latter parts of it, and you'll see how it's a very accurate description of a ship. It even talks about a military ship. If you look at John's writings in 21st century terms, it's a militarized fleet of ships that are coming down and doing these things to the earth. I don't care if you like this. I don't care if you believe this. I don't care if you, I don't believe that. It doesn't matter to me, because my job is not to get you to believe anything. My job is to present you with the clear, objective evidence of what the scriptures are saying. It's up to you, cousin, to take the information and decide what you want to do with it. Something looking like a star, beep, beep, fell from heaven. And it caused the waters to be bitter, undrinkable, and if you drank them, it killed you. Wormwood. What is it? This should be called Wormwood. Will you believe what the Bible says it is? And this isn't dung, folks. This is diamond. Straight up diamond. Straight out of diamond. I came to you tonight straight out of diamond. That's what I should have put up there. Straight out of diamond. Subscribe, like, share. Watch that Vinny Eastwood video. I'll get up a. I'll make a little video with a link to it tomorrow. It's going to be. It's a great interview. One of the best ones that I've done. I think we're going to get a lot of subscribers from it. I think it's going to help us grow the channel. Really good, really powerful stuff. I made this video in response to someone asking me to make this video. Ask me. Give me your thoughts, give me your concerns, give me your questions, and give me some of your money, quite frankly, because I need it to grow this channel and to help get this message out, because we're here to unwind people's minds. We're here to help people unindoctrinate themselves. And the only thing that's stopping us is finances. I'd love to be on satellite television. I really would. I think it'd be a great forum. And I'd love to grow this out so it's professional and good. We could probably do this from here and put it on satellite. That'd be great. Well, anyway. Or from towers for those of you that don't believe in satellites. You know what I mean. Satellite television, whether it is or not. I'm pulling your leg a little bit. Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower. We'll be back with more great stuff. There's a lot of great stuff on this channel. Check it out. And if this doesn't line up with what you think about Wormwood, all you have to realize is that the plain literal teaching of the New Testament text in the book of Revelation doesn't line up with what you want to believe. Now, you can believe whatever you want. You can believe that Wormwood is anything, but I've just shown you what the text literally says it is. Take it or leave it. That's my story. I'm sticking to it. I'm Jeffrey Daugherty, the Christian Whistleblower, helping you unwind your mind and helping you. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you being here. Unindoctrinate yourself.